Few performers in recent memory have created such an abrupt national conversation as Jourdan Blue. Across the country, a wave of public attention has turned toward a singer who only months ago was known primarily to pedestrians on Bourbon Street. Jourdan Blue's sudden emergence onto the national stage has become one of the most discussed stories in entertainment this season. His rise is not the result of industry connections or studio support. Instead, it is the culmination of a turbulent personal history marked by instability, hardship, and ultimately reinvention. As reporters began tracing his background, a clearer picture formed of a young man who grew up battling obstacles that would have derailed most others early in life. Accounts from those close to him describe years in which he drifted between temporary shelters, friends' couches, and unsafe environments. During that period, he confronted dependencies and destructive cycles that threatened to silence his talent before the world ever heard it. But one figure, his grandfather, stepped in when the situation reached a breaking point. Sources say that this intervention marked a turning point, providing stability, but more importantly, a sense of structure that allowed him to begin moving forward. By the time America discovered him, the public was seeing only the polished chapter, not the long and difficult build-up behind it. And as national interest continues to expand, the question arises: how did someone with no organized platform capture the attention of millions almost overnight? That answer, as reporters found, begins on the streets of New Orleans, and the story only intensifies from here. What began as a survival tactic is now being studied as the origin point of a national breakout. Jourdan Blue's transformation from an anonymous street performer into a major televised contender is rooted in his time performing on the busy sidewalks of New Orleans. Unlike artists with access to equipment, teams, or venues, Blue relied on whatever resources he could assemble. Witnesses recall that he powered his speaker using a car battery, an unusual but effective method that allowed him to perform for hours. While it looked unconventional, the sound carried and crowds gradually formed around him. These impromptu concerts allowed him to refine his voice in real time, responding to live reactions instead of studio polishing. Social media played a critical role as tourists recorded clips of his performances, uploading them online where they gained rapid traction. With every new recording, his presence grew beyond the streets and into wider online communities. Reports from those who encountered him consistently described the same impression: a voice standing out not for flashy performance tactics, but for a sincerity that resonated even in noisy environments. As the months progressed, it became clear that what began as a means to survive had quietly evolved into a training ground that prepared him for something significantly larger. Observers now cite this period as the foundation of his current success, a raw, unfiltered stretch of time that shaped his vocal control, emotional delivery, and endurance. And even then, few could have predicted the opportunity that was about to present itself. Before his national breakthrough, Jourdan Blue had already taken a shot at fame, one almost no one knew about. According to industry reports and verified program records, Jourdan Blue previously auditioned for another major competition, American Idol. In 2022, he advanced far enough to reach the top 25, a significant achievement for any aspiring artist. Yet none of his performances aired, leaving his effort invisible to general audiences. For many contestants, this type of outcome becomes a discouraging dead end. For Blue, however, insiders say the experience strengthened his resolve while revealing the challenges of competing in a heavily saturated industry. Public documents and staff commentary indicate that his early exit was not due to a lack of talent, but rather the nature of televised programming, where only a limited number of contestants receive on-air exposure. Friends say that the quiet disappointment pushed him to return to his foundational strengths, performing directly for real people rather than depending on broadcast visibility. The Idol experience provided valuable insight into the mechanics of televised competition, and according to those close to him, Blue learned how unpredictable such opportunities can be. He began focusing on what he could control: his craft, his consistency, and his connection with live audiences. While the broader public never saw his Idol journey, it became the silent precursor to the moment when millions would see him, and when that moment arrived, his preparation was unmistakable. What happened during Jourdan Blue's AGT audition is already being cited as one of the standout moments of the season. When Jourdan Blue walked onto the America's Got Talent stage for Season 20, there was little indication of the response he was about to receive. Performing Break-Even by the script, he delivered a rendition that judges described as unusually emotional and strikingly personal. Audience reactions grew steadily throughout the performance, culminating in a standing ovation that set the tone for what followed. Judge Howie Mandel ultimately pressed the golden buzzer, a moment that instantly propelled Blue into national prominence. News outlets across the country reported on the audition within hours, highlighting not only his vocal ability, but also the authenticity behind his delivery. What differentiated this audition from typical standout moments was the undercurrent of real-world hardship embedded in his voice, a quality that resonated with viewers who later shared the clip across multiple platforms. Ratings, data, and online engagement patterns confirm that his audition quickly became one of the season's most shared segments. Reporters covering the event noted the contrast between his humble background and the overwhelming reaction inside the theater. The segment was less about dazzling theatrics and more about emotional truth, and it marked the point where Jourdan Blue transitioned from a local talent to a nationally recognized performer. Behind the rising star profile lies a personal motivation that has reshaped public perception of his journey. As reporters continued examining Jourdan Blue's background, one detail repeatedly stood out: his role as a father. Interviews and statements indicate that much of his determination stems from his desire to build a stable future for his son. This aspect of his story has added a layer of emotional dimension that many viewers say helped them connect with his performances on a deeper level. Sources close to Blue report that becoming a parent shifted his priorities dramatically, pushing him to step away from environments that once jeopardized his safety and well-being. Instead of pursuing fame for its own sake, he began aiming for long-term security and personal improvement. This motivation, combined with his already challenging life circumstances, formed the core narrative that media outlets amplified as his AGT journey progressed. Analysts observing audience engagement trends suggest that this personal angle may be a key factor behind the unusually strong support he has received. In an industry where image often overshadows substance, Blue's emphasis on family responsibility presents a contrast many viewers find refreshing. It also recontextualizes his performances. The emotion that audiences respond to is not simply artistic expression, but a reflection of real stakes in his life. As his visibility increases, this element continues to shape public interest, positioning him not only as an entertainer, but as a figure of resilience. One of the most widely discussed moments of his AGT run happened off-camera, right before he walked on stage. During a key live performance, Jourdan Blue reportedly fell severely ill, with production sources confirming that he became sick shortly before his scheduled appearance. Staff members offered him the option of using his rehearsal footage instead of performing live, a standard protocol in emergency cases. However, Blue declined and insisted on appearing before the audience despite being visibly weak. He went on to perform Biblical by Callum Scott, a choice that demanded significant vocal endurance. Viewers noticed the strain in his voice, but many also noted the emotional intensity that came through as he pushed through the discomfort. Following the show, social platforms saw an increase in posts discussing the incident, with supporters praising his persistence and composure. Entertainment analysts later commented that this event, while challenging, strengthened his public image by demonstrating professionalism and dedication under pressure. Rather than overshadowing his talent, the circumstances added an unexpected human element to his performance, reinforcing the narrative of resilience that has been present throughout his journey. Reports following the broadcast indicate that the moment contributed to a spike in online searches and social engagement, proving once again that Blue's story resonates because it extends far beyond the stage. With national visibility secured, the central question now becomes, what comes next for Jourdan Blue? As his AGT journey continues to generate attention, the conversations surrounding Jourdan Blue have shifted from discovery to projection. Industry professionals have begun discussing his future prospects, noting that his combination of vocal talent, authenticity, and narrative appeal positions him for long-term impact beyond the competition. Analysts cite the growing fanbase that formed even before the season's later rounds, suggesting that he has the rare ability to maintain audience interest outside traditional media cycles. Discussions of potential original music, collaborations, and even touring opportunities have already surfaced, although no confirmed announcements have been made. What is certain, according to multiple entertainment reporters, is that his momentum is strong and viewer engagement remains unusually high. The broader narrative of a performer who rose from hardship to national recognition continues to attract attention, driving speculation that his post-show career may be more significant than the competition itself. Observers agree that the outcome of AGT, win or lose, will not define his trajectory. Instead, it will likely serve as the launching point for a career built on resilience, relatability, and a voice shaped by lived experience. For now, the country watches closely, waiting to see how this unexpected success story unfolds.